Hi everyone, my name is Zubaida Khan. I have 4 kids. I have 2 cars. One for work for my husband and the other to take out our kids on the weekend. If you put the bike line on one of the side and no parking on one side, where do I park?
Thank you for your question. I know there's a lot of people that want to hear my answer, so I feel like really, I feel like a star. Everybody's looking at me. We knew when we decided to do that it would have a lot of, that it would impact the citizens, that you would have to change the way you do things normally. Okay? I said. Okay. I asked, I'm sorry guys, I ask for respect. And if you don't respect, we are going to stop this assembly.
So there you have a snippet of the fireworks that happened at a city council meeting in Parc-Extension last week. Things have clearly heated up in Parc-Ex between drivers, homeowners, residents, and the borough. 250 parking spaces being removed from a couple of important streets, Ball and Kerb, to make way for a revamped bike path. And of course, those with families, the elderly, say it's vital that their vehicles are close to their homes. Of course, cyclists welcome the improved infrastructure. Let's go now to the mayor of Parc-Ex. Laurence Lavigne Lalonde joins us now on the line. Madame Lavigne Lalonde, welcome to the program. A lot of L's there. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
So we heard it got testy at times, and I'll be very honest with you. Last week, I was trying to leave the office last week, and somebody stops me, and they live in Parc-Ex. They would not let me leave for 15 minutes. They told me, Elias, you need to cover this. You have to talk about this. This is a big deal. The tensions are high. What is your response to residents who feel your borough simply isn't listening?
Well, my job is to represent all the citizens of Parc-Extension and the other district, but let's talk about Parc-Extension. And we know that there's 50% of households that don't own a car. And my job is to make sure that everybody in the borough can go to work, go to the kindergarten, or go to park safely. So I understand people that are frustrated and they speak loud, but I also have to make sure that the people that move differently can have a voice and also can have a way of transportation that is safe. So I think that we hear a lot of time what are their concerns, and we did propose different solutions to specific issue that were absolutely real. So we proposed different solutions. But yes, there's people that are angry because they are going to need to walk from their car to their house more than they did before. That's true.
Now, were there not other solutions possible? Like, I think about the streets that were chosen, and were other options looked at where you can keep more of those parking spots? Because I can imagine if I live in these areas, like I said, I couldn't leave work for 15 minutes because I have someone who there's no parking for them now because of this. So were there not other options, other streets, other solutions to make more people happy?
Mm-hmm. Well, the streets of Parc-Extension are really narrow. So on any street, if we wanted to do a secure bike path, we would have to remove parking. That's for sure. And what we wanted to do as well is what we do in every project. We want to make sure that everybody's safe, but also that the people that move differently than in a car, so pedestrian or cyclist, and in this case cyclist, they can have an efficient way of moving around. So if we do a bike path that is doing a lot of detours, it's not efficient. People won't use it. And We already have an infrastructure on curbs, but it's not secure. So the only thing that we do is we make it with the new standards. And it's those new standards that needs us to have a broader, wider lanes. So it takes out the parking. A lot of people said, why don't you do it on the Lépée? Why don't you do it on Acadie? If I do it on the Lépée, people from the Lépée will be mad. So our job is also to take decisions.
But would you have had to remove? Would you have had to remove parking?
Nobody wants.
Would you have had to remove if you did it on those other streets you mentioned? Would parking have had to go on those streets as well?
Absolutely. The streets are really narrow.
So, here's the one, because, overall, I'm in favor of bike paths. Sometimes I get into trouble with our listeners on this issue, right? But here's the one thing that resonates with me on this subject. And I heard it in this council meeting because I watched a few parts of this council meeting that went semi-viral. A lot of groups on Facebook and stuff were talking about it.
Yes.
The argument that gets to me is, you live in Westmount, you live in Outremont. Let's use Outremont because it's a city of Montreal borough. You live in more affluent places. You get to keep your car. You get to park on the street. And it seems like people in Parc-Ex say we are poor and working class. So that's why we're losing our car privileges, and you wouldn't dare do such a thing in a more affluent borough. What do you say to that?
A few years ago, they did a bike path on Bellechasse in Rosemont, and they lose like 800 parking spots. Last year, we did on Villeray on Villeray Street in Villeray neighborhood, and I received comments from people from Parc-Extension saying, you are not doing such great infrastructure in our borough. And they said this is environmental racism because you don't do nice infrastructure in Parc-Ex, and we are poor and we are this and that. Why you don't invest money in our borough? So we can exchange and have different views on that. But what I can say is that a lot of bike paths in other borough remove parking as well. Madame de Ross, a few years ago, she said, I really want bike path in my neighborhood. Why don't we have those? Like they did on Laurier Street in the Plateau Mont Royal. It's so beautiful. There's no parking on Laurier Street. They remove both sides. So there's not enough space to make sure that everybody can keep the parking and we have safe bike line. It's tough decisions, but if we want to make sure that people move safely, we have to do that. And when we implement bike path, it's not only safer for people that are using their bike, it's also safer most of the time for pedestrian to cross, for the automobilist as well, that they know where they have to move on the street, because sometimes it's get confused if it's not really well separated. So it's better for everyone, not only for cyclists.
Well, let me play you one more clip of a resident from this council meeting last week, and one more take that we heard.
Yes. As you can sense, everybody is upset, bewildered. We don't understand why. Currently, I am a tax-paying resident on curbs. We have a bicycle lane going north, a bicycle lane going south. The only recommendation I would have is to repaint the lines. We have parking on both sides. I have one vehicle per my household. I need it. It's not a luxury item. I need it to get to and from work. I need it to take care of my mom, who's 88 and has mobility issues. And once in a while, because we've been in COVID for 2.5 years and I've had no social life, I would like to have somebody come and visit me. The first thing when this went public, my girlfriend in the North Shore, she texted me from the French news, and she says, I guess I won't be able to come visit you anymore.
So just on that, was the current situation on curbs, where I know it's not up to the best code ever, but there were bike lanes and you could have kept the status quo and there still would have been bike lanes. Why wasn't that an option on the table for that street?
Because it's absolutely not safe. Every day that I walk there or that I take the bus in the borough, I see a lot of cars going into the bike lane, a lot of trucks that are in the bike lane. So it's not safe at all to keep it this way. If we would have implemented a new bike lane, we would never do that in 2023. We have to evolve and we have new standards. And I really don't want I really don't want to see an accident there and somebody hurt really hard. I mean, every time somebody dies in the street, everybody turns to the official elected and said, why you didn't act before? Well, we think we need to act before an accident happens.
Laurence Lavigne Lalonde is the mayor of Villeray, Saint-Michel, Parc-Extension. There's your full name of the borough. And she joined us this morning. Thank you so much, Laurence. I really do appreciate all your time.
Thank you very much.